Hello, my name is Mike Swartz. I served in the military from August 2006 to February 2015. The thing that motivated me to join the military as a Christian, I saw a great need to get the gospel to a group of people who were putting their lives on the line in combat. Some would not return home. There was one opportunity for them to hear the gospel, and I wanted to make sure they all received that opportunity before they would face death. Many soldiers did hear the gospel, some were saved, and some were baptized, and unfortunately, some did not make it back home. As an officer, before I deployed, I had to attend boot camp, and boot camp was different for officers than for enlisted soldiers. My boot camp as an officer was geared more towards leadership development along with physical exercise. One thing that stands out in my training, my boot camp, is the 4 mile run at 1 o'clock in the morning in the dark through the woods with a gas mask on. My primary job in the military was a 56 Alpha, which is an Army chaplain. As an Army chaplain, I was a spiritual leader and pastor. I was responsible for the spiritual well-being of 900 soldiers and their families, providing religious services, counseling, baptisms, marriages, funerals. During training and in combat, I was deployed with the soldiers onto the front lines. Although I never did this, it has occurred many times throughout history that the chaplain was able to administer a last prayer with a soldier as the soldier passed away during combat. However, something that I did do many times was provide the last prayer over the body of a soldier who had just given his life in combat for our country. In the military, we moved quite a few times. We served at Fort Benning, Georgia for 3 years. We served in Vicenza, Italy for 4 years. And then we served at Fort Campbell, Kentucky for 4 years. In the military, it's important for all soldiers to progress through the ranks. I enjoyed earning all the ranks in my career, but earning the rank of major is probably the most meaningful because it's the biggest milepost for an officer. Usually, if an officer is going to get weeded out or cut from the military, it happens when they're trying to earn the rank of major. If they are promoted to major, it's usually a good sign that they're going to make it as a career soldier. Also, in the military, it's important to, of course, do your best, but when you're working hard and trying to do your best, you earn medals and citations. And the ones that are most meaningful to me probably is the AAM, which stands for Army Achievement Medal, because this one is the first one that I earned while in the military. But the one that I'm most honored to have received is the Bronze Star, because that one was earned during combat. In the military, I made a lot of good friends with whom I'm still in constant contact even today. But one in particular that stands out to me is Kabir. Kabir was an Afghan national. He was my interpreter in Afghanistan. Kabir was always willing to assist me while on patrol. He never refused to go out on patrol. Some interpreters would refuse to go because they felt it was too dangerous. They always enjoyed to earn the money for being an interpreter, but they weren't always willing to put their life on the line. And so I was fortunate to have Kabir. Kabir and I were able to arrange countless meetings with the local religious leaders that ended up providing great information that assisted our soldiers and inevitably prevented bombings that would have killed our soldiers. In the military, food is, of course, very important. I've got several stories about food. The worst food in the military is no doubt the Jimmy Dean meals, also known as bag nasties. The sandwich component was made by the Jimmy Dean Company, and it was served on a plastic tray with saran wrap over top. I think either turkey or ham with cheese on a burger type bun was usually the main course, plus chips and a bag of cookies. These things were stored frozen, and usually by the time we got them, they were semi-frozen. There's a fine science to getting them thawed to where they weren't ice crystals in the meat, but not too thawed to where the bread turned to mush. The best food, no doubt, that I ever had in the military was in Afghanistan at the Haji Diner in the village. This was a local, ran by a local national. It was pretty nasty environment, which the whole village and all the bazaars were pretty nasty and dirty. But the people enjoyed going there, the local people, and so did the soldiers. And they had really good food. They served kebab, which was a meat type product similar to ground beef, and then they had spicy chicken, and they were both always fresh. The chicken they would kill in the back of the restaurant daily, and then clean them and cook them, so you really got fresh chicken. The Army is full of funny stories, a lot of good times. During my time as a paratrooper, one story stands out to me. We were scheduled to jump onto a landing zone in a beautiful pasture in Germany. It was a very windy day and the sun was shining brightly. We were in the airplane ready to jump. There were German paratroopers with us on the airplane. And as we were in the plane heading to the jump zone, the German jump master said to everyone on the plane, "Due to the high winds, the jump is going to be canceled." But at the same time, our jump master, American jump master, stood up and said to him, "You guys," referring to the Germans, "can cancel, but we're going to jump." So the Germans sat down in the plane while the American jumpers shuffled up to the door, and we all exited the plane. It was so windy, all I remember is bumping into other soldiers coming down through the clouds. I remember a jumper came underneath me, and I literally landed on top of his parachute while in the air. And I quickly remembered my training. If you ever land on another parachute, you basically start running as fast as you can, and you will actually walk across the top of the parachute and slide off the edge, and then your parachute will reinflate. And as we were coming down through the clouds, I remember looking down, seeing a soldier being dragged along the pasture towards the stream. And then all I could see was trees coming at me. And yes, I did land in the trees. It was one of the best landings that I ever had. I came crashing through the trees and came to a stop about 4 feet from the ground, and then just unhooked my harness and slid out and walked away. The military experience does have an effect on every soldier's life. Through this experience, I learned that life is quick and fragile. I learned to spend each day with a purpose in mind. In life, there are those things that will try to distract us from our purpose, but the military has taught me to always be vigilant and to avoid distractions and pursue the goals that I have before me. I learned not to waste my time collecting wood, hay, and stubble that will be burned at the judgment seat and leave me empty-handed before God. For 1 Corinthians 3:11 says, "For other foundation can no man lay than that which is laid, which is Jesus Christ. Now if any man build upon this foundation gold, silver, precious stones, wood, hay, and stubble, every man shall be Every man's work shall be made manifest, for the day shall declare it, because it shall be revealed by fire, and the fire shall try every man's work of what sort it is. One thing that I did learn also to include, don't waste my time, but instead I also learned to invest my time in things that can't be taken away, like crowns in heaven. 1 Corinthians 9:24 and 25 says, Know ye not that they which run in a race run all, but one receiveth the prize? So run that ye may obtain. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we, as Christians, do it to obtain an incorruptible. So I learned to not waste my time on wood, hay, and stubble, things that are going to be burned at the judgment seat, but instead to invest my life in things that can't be taken away, like winning souls, loving my family, pointing people to Christ, things like that. Things that are going to be tried by fire, but they're going to withstand because they're incorruptible. And then one day we will be able to take our rewards and our crowns that we've earned and cast them at the feet of Jesus. Thank you for listening, and God bless.